Hello everyone and welcome to an unboxing of an order I put in with Night Models because they did another big sale celebrating 15 years of being in the miniatures and miniature game business. Really good discounts on all their catalogue, not just the stuff that was there for Black Friday, along with a couple of celebratory miniatures for celebrating the 15 years. So I decided to put in another order with them. I was about to go record something else, but it literally just arrived, other than tearing off the labels to protect information. Haven't done anything else with the box yet. We are, as usual now, with their orders, opening it up on camera to dissuade any crazy people out there from thinking I fake things regarding Night Models. So if you let me just stretch over here, we're going to open this. We're going to take a look, make sure everything's there, and talk through what's in each box, as well as just talking about the sale in general, because there is something I want to mention about it. But I will say the new Joker that they revealed for the 15-year anniversary, I really like. It looks a little silly, but Joker himself is silly. But they also found another way to make a Joker, like they've done like 10 of them at this point, that does actually feel like he has unique mechanics on the table, which is interesting. So let me just make sure there's not an invoice. Okay, I don't think there is, because there wasn't last time. So we do have quite a few things in here, but they're all in small boxes, and we're going to look at them today. They do all seem to be poly wrapped as well. So we have an objective deck to look at. We have Commander Bane that was supposed to be Black Friday exclusive, but I don't know. We have Harley Quinn and Bud and Lou. We have, this is one of the newer releases. This is a Batman Beyond wave, which is very neat. We'll talk more about that in a second. This is the Joker I was talking about, the 15th anniversary Joker. A little confusing because it's, Joker's been around for 80 years, but for the company, 15 years. Then we have, this was just to get the price up to get free postage, I think, or just to round off the price in some fashion. I picked up, they released these ages ago, but this is just resin, sewer markers and lampposts. We have a stand-in Batman, another one. See, I'm glad that's why they did a new stat card for the 15th anniversary Joker. This is a new Batman, but it's just a stand-in one like King Batman. You can just use him in place of any other one. But I like the pose, it's fun. And it kind of looked opposed to the Joker to me, so I thought, I'll pick it up now at the discount price they were selling it for. And same with something I wasn't originally that interested in, the Royal Flush Gang. But if you offer them at 40% discount a month after you could buy them for the first time, I'll take them at that price. I feel real bad for anyone who bought them in the month they got revealed, because if they just waited 30 days, they could have had them for 40% off. So with the polythene off, here is everything laid out, and everything with the exception of the new Joker and the Batman Beyond, because they were the newest releases, was a 40% discount across their catalogue. It included their other games as well. Very good deal if you were willing to wait. And they did, as I said, still had the Black Friday stuff. So we'll start with the Royal Flush Gang, and we'll then go to the new stuff, and then talk about just the miscellaneous releases as well. It is a bit weird that they still don't have painted miniatures on some of their boxes. I guess they're releasing things too fast for whoever it is that does the fantastic job painting their miniatures. Like, why does the Bane Commander not have one when it was a Black Friday thing? I don't know, it's what happens sometimes. So let's start with their deck. It does mean that in the current edition of the game, with the updated rules, the Royal Flush Gang is still playable, because they have a special deck, which is 52 cards, of course, and they actually don't roll dice. They draw cards and go by the value in the bottom corner, as we can see there. Let me just grab my scissors again, and we'll very quickly open and have a look at the deck, although there's a lot of same cards, because the difference is the suits, really, more than anything else. It is certainly an interesting playstyle. I did originally look at it and thought to myself, that's a lot of drawing cards. And I'm not usually keen on card focused stuff. I'm changing a little bit in certain ways, but I still prefer rolling dice. It's just my personal preference. But the price was right. So you do get your keyword and then the special rules about how they play and how they score. All their cards are worth a one flat VP, unless you have a a streak going. I've forgotten the term. I don't really play a lot of card games. A run, that's what it's called. If you have a run going, they can be worth more. And as I say, they're basically all the same in terms of each individual value. The only difference between them is the suit. And they do have a way to use them as a resource. They do have their objective card variant. And then eventually, if we skip ahead to the Jacks, Kings and Queens, they're a little more special, but it still does come down to, like, if you drew this card when you were supposed to, say, roll attack dice, this one's worth a 4. I think the plus just means you add 1 to the next value you would draw, from what I remember. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Jack of Hearts, and they do a little bit different stuff. And then you've got your Queens and Kings as well. The King looking especially evil, and are all worth 6. So they're the ones you want to draw. Also got to be good at your shuffling for this one, and you probably want to sleeve this deck, because unlike most objective cards, which you don't really do that much with these, because you're doing it instead of dice rolling for all your attack rolls, defense rolls, etc., you will probably want to sleeve them if you care about the, keeping them nice, because you're going to be doing it far more often than any other cards, and there is 52 of them. So you've got 53 if you count the rolls. So oops, or else that might happen. So let's look at the biggest release, the Royal Flush Gang itself. It is a bat box. You get a fully playable 350 rep crew out of the box. They're already on the app, and as I say, because they use that special 52 card method, you can play them with the current edition of the game without any changes. You could have played them prior to them updating the rules to a 30 card objective deck, and you can play them post because their rules supersede that. So you get your King, you get your Jack, your Queen, and then these are just your basic guys, and I've forgotten what they're called, and I'm sure it won't say on the back because these boxes never tell you who you're getting. Oh, you know what? They've changed it. They do now. Let me look at an older release. Yep, older release, which is what they've always done. They don't actually say what you're getting specifically. Obviously it does on the front in this case because it's Harley, but if you're getting just like generic mooks, it doesn't usually tell you, but it absolutely does here, which is a very good change. So yeah, your King, Queen, Jack, Ace, 10 of Spades, 3 of Spades, 8 plastic bases, 8 miniatures, 350 rep crew right out the box, and again you have to have the app to get the rules, and you have to print off their stat cards yourself. Let's make sure everything is as it should be. Oh, you know what I didn't do on camera? I didn't shake everything to make sure there's resin. Okay, seems fine. Seems fine. Okay, we're good. That is everything. So we have ourselves 3 bags. Now, they're in so many bits, at a glance it's going to be really difficult for me to tell if I've got everything or not. We'll do a quick look, but honestly this is definitely going to be a case of check the comment section like a week or 2 after the video, maybe longer depending on when I get around to assembling these, but I'll definitely do a sticky comment if I notice anything egregiously bad. I can't. What is this? What is this? Hang on. I mean, I presume there was things hanging off of these bits of resin, but I don't know. I guess that might have been what arms and things were hanging off of. And oh yeah, the Queen's head is right there. I presume that's what that was. I'm guessing. And this kind of goes the other direction where there's a bit too much flash holding it together, so not as bad as one of the legs in the Black Friday video. The cleanup of that leg was awful, by the way. We've got the big guy, his body here. Let's see. No holes, just divots to slot arms into, so it's fine. Because you do have to watch out for that sometimes. The gaps don't fully form properly, so for instance trying to press a head into a body doesn't always work out well. Yeah, that's a very small space to press her head in. Although I'm not going to show you that body for too long because unpainted it looks like she's nude, and that will not do on YouTube. And oh yeah, that's the Jack's body I think right there. So we'll move on to the next bag, but I'm going to carefully clean this up. Alright, second bag, we're just going to take a look. Let's try and get a rough estimate of is everything there or not. That was every big base, so no, actually no, there's one more in the third bag. Those are the shields for your basic grunts that I think they have the horde rule. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. They're textured bases, there isn't much to them to be honest, it's basically that repeated for the smaller guys. The larger ones have slightly different tiles. But we've got ourselves some basic bodies. Zoom in and see. This is the spear wielding basic guy. Actually I think they all have spears, it's just different poses. So we should have 3 bodies, which we do. We have assorted heads, assorted spears, not bent either, which is good. Although probably not in focus either because they're so thin. There we go. The shields, the bases, I think we've got this. Yeah, he's got both legs. How many hands are we missing? The hands are on the spears. It looks, at a glance, what can you do? It looks like everything is there. And then the final two should be in here, which I presume is the king. And who else have we not seen? The large lad? No, we saw the large lad. Who else is in here? Someone else on a large base. Oh, nope, we saw her as well. Who is in here? Let's see. That doesn't tell me much. That's the king's scepter, or sword, flaming sword. It needs trimmed down a little bit, but that's okay. That is a very bent and not very nice looking playing card that one of them is flying on. I think the king is flying on that, actually. And then there's this. Oh, it is the queen. It's the king and queen together. I guess that makes perfect sense. A lot of cleanup required, snipping off bits off of her torso there. I presume this is meant to have these holes. I'm not quite sure what it is. Oh, it's for underneath the playing card, I think. This is where having assembly details would once again be a little bit helpful for something that might not be obvious. Most of the time it is obvious. Now I am noticing there's that. I don't know what that is. It looks like a cufflink to me, but it could also just be an unnecessary bit of resin. I don't know, but it almost looks like a cufflink. So I'm a little worried that is part of something, but we'll just need to hold on to it and see. Alright, let's move on to something fun, the Batman Beyond releases, which I think have been sought after for quite a while. I think people have been wanting Terry McGinnis for quite a bit. I'm not familiar with him having a Robin. I don't remember him having a Robin in the cartoon. I presume that is comic only. I just remember it being him and Bruce for the TV show with old lady Barbara Gordon every so often. Does it say their names? It does, technically. It should really differentiate that this is Terry. And it would help if it said his brother's name. I know it's his brother. I have no idea what his name is though. It's offhand. But very cool looking miniatures, very nice pose. Also, in terms of stats for playing the game, he is an expensive one rep wise. I think he's like 140 something rep. So that's over a third of your rep cost. But he is really, really good on paper, stats wise. Big bag for such a little box. And Bruce here is just like your standard kind of like Alfred Rose, your intel support character, but he can only be brought with Terry and they work well together, which makes sense. Is that somebody's hair? I'm going to presume that's just filament, but that is a long bit of potentially grey hair. Probably better not to think about that. I'm just going to put that to one side and we're just going to carry on. So we have 3 bases. Even that Robin is on a large base, huh? Okay, well, it doesn't seem that necessary. Even that Robin has an ability that on paper to me looks like it's a little bit OP, but I guess there's no point talking about that until the game is playable again. So we have some fun retro future-esque bases. Actually, that's the one. This will be... One of these is for Batman, one of them is for Robin. I can't quite tell which is which. I think this is Robin's one because he's kind of shooting off the top of it, whereas Batman's coming off the side of it. So I presume that. And then Bruce is obviously in the Batcave with his doggo, so that makes sense. So there is various parts of Robin. One wing, and that could be his leg. I think that's Batman's leg. So why is it with a Robin wing? Who knows? That is that Bruce's head? I think that's Rob. It's so hard to tell. It's so tiny. Well, it's definitely doggo legs right there, so let's presume for now that's Bruce, even though I don't think his hair matches that. I will also say his clothing that they went with, I presume, giving them the benefit of the doubt, that's how he looks in the Batman Beyond comics, which I've never read. In the cartoon, his clothes didn't look like that. They were kind of a purplish hue for a start, but also had a completely different style, which is a little jarring to me, just because I'm only familiar with Batman Beyond from the cartoon. That's the rest of Robin for sure. Wait. Oh, so that's Batman's wing then. Yeah, okay, so that is all Batman, because there's both wings for Robin right there. There is the rest of Batman. Terry looks older here as well, but again, in the comics, he's maybe aged up a little bit. But he always struck me as being like very young. He was basically just a stand-in Dick Grayson, to me. But I need to go back and watch Beyond. I didn't watch much of it, because I didn't like that Bruce was old and not Batman. But now that I am old and not Batman, I appreciate his role more. And speaking of, so that is Bruce, so I guess that was Robin's face. And the rest of Ace. His face doesn't look quite right either, I will say that. But they're not going for the cartoon's visual style, so it is important to remember that. But in general, it's a fun set. You basically have to take all 3 together because these 2 can't be brought without Terry. But between the three of them, you're also taking up most of your rep costs, but they work well together, and he is ridiculously powerful. And you could take him on his own. You could just take that Batman. So I think he is definitely going to be a bit of a powerhouse, especially with the new Vigilantes deck, more so than the new Police deck, which Batman can still be brought with the Police. But I think he works better as a Vigilante. But either way, good release. Seems like everything's there to me. Not much cleanup. The holes look clean, especially on the dog legs. That's how the slots that you put things into are supposed to look. Very often though, with Night Models molds, you get like they're semi-filled in, they're not quite the right shape, so you just have to trim stuff down and it becomes really awkward, which is again something that a new person to miniature games would definitely struggle with. You know what, let's go in order. We'll get to the 15th anniversary Joker eventually. So this is Commander Bane, who's kind of like a discount but also still pretty powerful Bane that was a Black Friday exclusive, but is still available, and you can also still pick it up from third parties. But in the sale Night Models was running, it made the most sense to pick it up from them because he was so dirt cheap. And there won't be much to him because Bane's usually in big bits, so we can cover this one real quick. I guess they're kind of going for a Tom Hardy-esque Bane, I guess, because he is wearing his thick jacket. Now, do we have everything? His other hand is on his torso. Let's just zoom in. Look at actually that is impressive detail on the inside of his coat. I am genuinely surprised that that is textured, and it looks fantastic. It looks like fur. Surprising, because once he's assembled, you don't really see that much of the inside of his jacket. So that is an attention to detail I wish carried across everything they did. But that is really nice. So then it's simple enough. There's his lower torso right there. And then we've got, just I guess he's just standing on cracked concrete. Very Crisis Protocol-esque. Then you've got his face, which has got a bit of cleanup on it, but you know, basically it looks like Deadpool when it doesn't have any colour on it. And his pointing finger, which is rude, but that's okay. So not much to him, as I say. Bane usually doesn't come in too many bits other than the Arkham Asylum one, which was a bit of a pain, but yeah, seems fine. So now we have Harley Quinn and Bud and Lou, although they're just called her hyenas here, I guess, in case people don't know what their names are. This miniature is a skin for all miniatures with the alias Harley Quinn. See, that was the interesting thing. They made that abundantly clear when this model was revealed. I thought, fine, I'll pass on it. But then they changed their mind, or forgot, and then remembered that she does actually have a stat card. She has her own unique profile, and she can release the boys whenever she chooses to during her activation. They become the old Bud and Lou miniatures because they haven't been given new ones, and she becomes the Back to Gotham Harley, which is not in print anymore, as far as I'm aware. Maybe it is a separate part of that old box. But either way, it did eventually get a stat card, which means that was a decision made after this packaging had been finalised, which I always thought was a little weird. I'm glad she got a stat card because it's a very fun way to still have Bud and Lou and just have her be a unique playstyle that you can change part way. Now, I am a bit worried about this because of the chains, which I think I said. If I didn't say, I meant to say. But we'll see. I'm not sure, oh, is this another here? It's got to just be filament, right? Because that is definitely a or if it's the same person packing this order, maybe they're just super stressed out. Because this is, once again, I don't think they use filament in their resin, right? But it seems like that's two really long bits. And presumably it was all, oh, that's another thing to note. We haven't had a single quality control bit of paper. And that includes stuff as new as Black Friday, which is long after they started doing it again. So where's the quality control paper? They're not just stuck in the box. No, it's empty. Interesting. Does the quality control need quality control? Maybe you could have less people constantly and pointlessly updating the characters on the app, and instead just work on keeping the game fun and producing good quality stuff. I know that's a crazy notion, but so this looks like part of the platform they're standing on. There really isn't much to show here because it's in so many bits, and because it's Harley, it's tiny. But there's the gist of her body in her classic Harley Quinn costume, and it looks like it needs some cleanup, to be honest. Oh, my dog might be about to bark as well, so you know what, I'm going to presume that everything is here. The chains actually do look fine, to be fair, so we'll hope that everything is here as it should be, and we'll see in the future. You know, since I have them, it was part of the order. Let's see if the Gotham Sewers and lampposts are as they should be. And it is very simple. What it says on the back is in here. I mentioned before they should stop focusing so much on pointlessly rebalancing every little thing. I do still stand by that. It's not like this game has a strong competitive scene. It's not like this game has a strong competitive anything. I get that there are those who derive fun from the game being fun, and there are those who derive fun from winning in a competitive sense. I am definitely the former rather than the latter, and I have no respect for the latter. Let's see what we have. So there should be 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have no respect for the latter because they ruin the former. Sorry, to finish that thought. We have a miscellaneous bit of nothing. We have the thug that's tied to one of the lampposts' head. Oh yeah, right, here we are. So we have his head. So these were just these released ages ago, but it was just an updated Sewers and lampposts pack where you could have a little bit of flavour, like Batman's tied a thug to one of them's got bats on it, one of them's poison ivy's kind of implied because it's got a plant on it, like a little snapdragon thing there. This one I'm not sure what the theme is. Oh, it's got rats on it. Oh no, it's cats, sorry. Cats, so it's Catwoman themed. Not specifically you have to use it with those crews or anything, it just has flavours of Gotham that are easily identifiable. You could have covered one in like Riddler graffiti or whatever, still might actually. And then the sewers themselves, I don't like how oversized the Joker poisoned fish are on this one, but that's obviously what they are. It's, at a glance you can tell. What have we got? We've got gas coming out of this one, which is a little bit annoying just in the sense that it means that it's offset, but presumably for gameplay purposes you only measure from this part, not the part that's slid off. But it looks neat with the poison gas kind of escaping. This one is poison ivy themed. Her vines are coming out of it. And then the last one, I think that's Killer Croc's hands, which is pretty neat. Especially because the new Arkham Asylum Croc version, like he loves going in and out of the sewers over and over and over. So that's very thematic. Again, it just looks nice. It's offset as well, but that's fine. They look nice, and it would be nice to update on those really early 2nd edition ones I've got that are the lampposts have broken like 2 or 3 times over the years. So we have 2 boxes left, the 15th anniversary for Night Models, Joker, and the Batman I feel kind of goes with him. I don't know if they had that in mind, I kind of got the vibe from it that they were meant to be together. But Batman, I think he was a Black Friday reveal as well, and he is just a stand-in. One detail ready to paint miniature, doesn't even name him, not that it needs to, I guess. And it is an updated box because it does have the new split between cops and, I think they're just called cops, law enforcement maybe, and vigilantes, which is the bat signal for the 2 separated crews that now exist within the game. So, we'll look at both. Let's look at Joker first. The Joker who is flying, like his leg looks just so stupid, but the model itself is fun and he is meant to be in motion. He's coming into the battlefield on the top of a gas bomb, I guess Dr. Strangelove style. And he actually has rules that reflect that. He doesn't start on the table, he only comes down off of the back of an objective scoring, I think it is, but then he does like an AoE poison burst because his bomb's landing. Like, despite how many versions of him exist in the game, and I think Batman is the only person who has more iterations than Joker for this game, they've still managed to think up a style that hasn't been done, a new playstyle for him. Granted, he's still got the basic Joker rules on top of that. Oh, do we have ourselves another hair / filament? This is definitely attached, so I think it's just a lack of care for cleaning up their resin right here. But yeah, that's definitely. Is his bomb shaped like a fish? No, it's got a smiley face on it. Let's zoom in, hang on. Give it a second. There we go. So it's smashing in like this because this is flat underneath. So it smashes in like that. He's standing on top doing that silly thing. I am curious if you can reposition the leg actually. Oh, the legs are one piece. Because that you know, like if he bends that the wrong way, he is going to need crotch surgery. But if you wanted to, I'm just saying you could probably cut that and just like, it doesn't need repositioned a lot, just a little bit. Like, it does look silly. It looks like he's about to do a cartwheel that way, but personally I might alter that slightly just so it's a little bit flatter towards the ground. The rest of it, fine. It's his long coat style in the classic colours you would expect. He is holding his hat in one hand and a cane in the other. There is his face. I think that's the exact same face sculpt they've used since the Back to Gotham one for any that aren't special. And then just the resin he fits into. So we'll just pop that to one side and do Batman at the same time. Zoom back out again. Doing a fantastic flying kick like you'd see in one of the video games. Yeah, so not a single quality control. Their quality control needs quality control. They're forgetting. Or maybe they just lasted a few months and now no longer care again about culpability for any mistakes. But hopefully it's not that. So, we don't actually have that many bits to Batman here either. We have his base, we have a huge... I actually thought it'd be in more bits than this, but we have a huge left wing. That is a lot larger than I thought it was. Like, I knew just going by the box, his wingspan in this particular pose is massive, but it's pretty big. Where does this go on then? I guess this is just... it's going to slot on akin to something like that. It's probably going to go on the other half of him though. Part of it is also connecting onto, yeah, this part, which is a Joker face, which is also... it kind of matches the theme of the Back to Gotham box releases as well, the Joker and the Harley from that. Just part of Joker's Funhouse, essentially. It looks like that's the connecting point. Oh, it is, yeah. So it sits like that. That hole goes into... it looks like it goes into his knee, actually. I thought the cape was the connecting point. No, it's his knee. Now that has problems. It looks like it's the right shape, though. Let's see. Yeah, that fit in there really snugly, actually. That's really good. But this cape is quite a chunk of resin. It's a little heavy compared to Night Model's normal affair, which is very, very light. It looks like it slots in right there and his head goes on top. Something like that. I can't quite... it looks like that's almost right, but on the picture it looks more like the cape is like this, which is a little strange. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get that angle. Something like that with the other wing coming off here. That's a lot of weight on one connector point, which worries me, especially because once it's super glued and once it's painted, if you do any damage to this resin, it turns to crystal and shatters, as I've talked about a few times before. So that would be my worry for this particular sculpt, but it looks cool, which is why I wanted it. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to connect together. I'll need to just look at it better outside of a camera lens, but hopefully it all fits nicely together because I really do like the pose. It's just another stand-in that doesn't have its own unique stat card. It could have, but granted it's basically just Batman. They could have specifically said it was like the 80th anniversary version Batman, like just an update to him. He kind of has the same kind of grand scale, but either way, it's fine, and we'll hopefully see. Oh, there's his head. Often his ears are bent, but this time it looks fine. I'm not going to try and get that on camera though because it'll be too zoomed in, but it looks fine to me. So a lot less neat than it was before. There you have it. That is what I picked up in Night Model's 15th anniversary sale. So just some final thoughts. They've been around for 15 years. They have done quality control bits of paper before, as I've learned when I picked up some first edition stuff just for myself, for my collection. So it's a thing they've done before, stopped, restarted when people once again kind of kicked up a fuss about their quality control or lack thereof. And it is a little worrying that they once again seemed to just not bother. It is also worrying that they got rid of their former community manager, who seemed to make at least a conceited effort to try and keep the community together, be it the sidekick program they run or hanging out and talking to fans of the game. I don't know if their position has been replaced by someone else or not, but it does seem a little like they're kind of becoming more insular, and they already were. They're a very close-knit small company with control over a very large brand, and they still make infuriating, confusing, baffling decisions about how the licenses they have are handled. They have Harry Potter, they have DC in general as well as just Batman. They have Game of Thrones, and at least as far as the TV series goes, and who knows what else they have planned. They have all these things for such a small team. They have that Arkham Escape game they did on Kickstarter, whatever that was called. They have all these things going, and I don't think any of them are particularly well run, which is a great shame. They are still producing quality models in general, like they look great. The poses they think up by and large are really, really cool looking. They paint well, and they just look nice on the table. The amount of cleanup required though, and the amount that can be wrong, is unacceptable compared to just your most basic of other companies who have no massive license to carry them. I shouldn't be finding whatever that was and that in my packages. I should be finding a little slip that says this was packed by so and so, so if I have a complaint with my order from them, I can get in touch and say, hey, this person packed this wrong, just so you know. Might want to have a word with them, and also could you replace it. Thankfully, at a glance, it seems like everything is here, so I can't complain about that, but I will never forget their past indiscretions, and I hold absolutely no hope of things improving. Staying the same, sure. Improving, probably not. If anything, maybe getting worse. There is still no sign of the card pack that is coming that will make the game legally playable again, with the updated rules that they absolutely should not have released until such out of beta anyway, until such time as the card pack was available. It is baffling that they released a PDF rulebook update only available in their app. They still have the old version on the old sites, only on their app, that fundamentally changes the core component of the game, which is the objective card decks, and expect you just to use the app, which can't track games, and not, well, and print off them for yourself, I guess, is the other option, and not see a problem with that. They don't care about how the game is played, but that statement alone is potentially wrong, because they do very frequently, somewhat randomly, update characters for the game. It is very, very confusing. And on one hand, it feels like they don't care about the gameplay component at all. They care about just making nice looking miniatures, which is fine if that's what you're for. And then in the other, they seem to nitpick little changes so much that it makes you feel like, oh, do you actually like really, really care about how competitive or balanced this game is? Because it seems fairly slapdash and random, the things you choose to pick to change. And now at this point, you've gotten to this stage where individual character models, like let's just pretend the Joker here, or Harley is actually a better example because there's a version of Harley that this applies to. Depending on which crew you stick a Harley in, a Harley Quinn in, it wouldn't be this model specifically, but let's just pretend. Depending on which crew you stick her in, you need a different stat card, because she has different stats, different abilities, and different things she can or cannot do. And they're doing that across the models that are usually in one crew, and also Suicide Squad as an example. That is a horrible trend to start following, because not only are you already expecting someone to print out a stat card for a character, but you expect them to print out multiple based on being in a different crew. It's truly, truly baffling. And I've gone massively off topic of what was just supposed to be unboxing, but where else am I going to talk about this stuff? They are a company that's been around for 15 years. I have absolutely no idea how that's been possible with the way they run their business. I have no idea how they have control over such powerful and well-known IPs, given their small business nature and slapdash method they approach business. It is confusing. Maybe it's also kind of inspiring, because if they can do it, anyone can do it, I guess. But I hope this trend of not sticking with quality doesn't continue. I want to see culpability for who packs these orders, because the biggest complaint about Night Models is not the balance of their games. It's that, oh, I got a box with things missing, and it was absolute hell trying to get anything done, from getting a replacement, chasing up an order, that kind of thing. And let's never forget when someone packed an empty box and considered that acceptable. So those are the things that really do need to change. The balance of the game is nothing compared to that problem, and just the problem of trying to get into the game in general, which we've discussed at length in a different video. Anyway, I'm going off on one, so let's just call that there. I am still impressed with the overall quality of this, and nothing seemed to be especially wrong, and that's good. So there wouldn't be a need for a quality control thing. I still would have liked them to be there though. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and ta for now.